Hi, this is Chris. Today I'm going to talk to you about how you should always try to make your apps as dynamic as possible. This actually applies to all IT solutions, but is especially relevant to apps as they need to support multiple platforms and they're not easily updatable. You can't update them instantly.
First of all, when you're about to implement some new functionality in an app, you should always ask yourself if it can be implemented on the server side instead. As the probability is increasing that there will be more than one type of device or channel providing the same functionality, anything that can be implemented on the server side does not have to be duplicated on each platform. Duplication does not only create extra effort in development, test and maintenance and even cost, but will also increase the risk that the implementation will be different, which could be very serious. Another reason for putting as much as possible on the server side is that the processing power is many times higher than on a mobile device. This will become even more significant with the increasing number of new simple devices that form the Internet of Things. The next thing you should ask yourself when implementing something static in an app is whether it can be made dynamic instead. A typical example is when you're entering a string of text in your code that will be visible to the user, like a label or error message. And it's often a minimal effort in any mobile development tool to put that string in a separate file that can be translated. A nice detail when building native apps for iOS is that the only thing a developer needs to do is add the NSLocalizeString macro to each string. And the separate file for translating can be automatically generated with a tool. And that even avoids using abstract constants. Doing it during the initial development doesn't add any significant effort, but to add this support later could take considerable time. Another example is when you're implementing a status flag, which should have two values. And it therefore seems obvious to use a true, false or Boolean data type. But you should ask yourself if there could ever be another status, even if the requirements are clear that there are only two statuses. If so, you could use an integer data type instead and be prepared for the future. In this example, it would be even better if each status had an enumerated value. This becomes even more important when you have something that seems like a static range of values, but that will probably change over time. An example is a number of categories in a news feed, like rating, politics, sports. These categories should probably be retrieved from the server and then be used to populate the user interface. However, you probably don't want to get the categories all the time, only when they change, so it's a good idea to use something like conditional gets. And if you search my video feed, you can find I have a specific video on that subject. More importantly, the adding and removing of categories may affect the user interface, and therefore it's necessary that the implementation is made so that it can handle any number of categories and still both look and function well. A final example is when you have a longer static formatted text that are to be read by the user, like terms, instructions, or general information about the app. Such text are probably best put as a web page on the server and presented to the user in a web view. The web page should preferably have a responsive design so that it adapts to different screen sizes.
So that's how you can make your mobile apps as dynamic as possible. And with that, I wish you the best of luck in creating great apps. Thank you.